Anyway,
I was arrested for vagrancy.
I'm going to read a little bit of my new book, Godforsaken Democrat. And it's about a guy called Archibald Hamilton Rowan, who, by the way, is not a mathematician. In fact, he was a political revolutionary here in this district in the 1790s. And he escaped from prison about 100 yards from here. A lot of people don't know that Newgate Prison, the infamous Newgate Prison, was up there very near where Green Street is, very, very close to here. And he escaped from there on the 1st of May, 1794. And he escaped because he had to escape. Because the government knew, he was doing a 2-year sentence at the time, but the government uncovered a plot he was involved in with a French agent called Reverend William Jackson. And if Rowan had not escaped from prison, he would have gone to the gallows. So, by the time we meet him in this piece, he has escaped from prison. He is in a very small boat, trying to get to France with the help of 3 crewmen, 2 Sheridan brothers, and a fella called Murray. So I'm going to read a little piece of this, and then maybe another piece later on. This is chapter 11, and it's called The Glorious 1st of June. Jean Bon's son Andre was the boy who fought and saved the French convoy. John Bull rang his church bells all for joy that caused the French great laughter. The small vessel made good time as far as Wexford, but was then blown back by contrary winds to shelter once again under Howth Head. By dawn the next day the weather had cleared, and they set sail once more in a fair wind. Just over 1 day later, Rowan and his companions sailed into the English Channel, which was fast becoming a dangerous war zone. A deadly game of cat and mouse had been played out between the British Channel Fleet and the French Atlantic Fleet. Jean Bon's son Andre, a former Protestant clergyman, had been radicalised by the French Revolution and had risen to become a powerful member of the Committee of Public Safety. Son Andre was in Brest, re-equipping and reorganising the French naval forces. Admiral Howe was in command of the British fleet, and he was endeavouring to lure the French out of port and into battle. A food convoy from America was expected in France, which was threatened by famine. If the British could intercept the French convoy, would be forced to deploy the entire fleet to protect the much needed supplies. Meanwhile, both sides were engaged in small-scale skirmishes and capturing individual vessels. As Rowan's small craft crossed the channel, he was still nearer to the English than the French coast, and he was suddenly enveloped by the British fleet. Howe was searching for the American food convoy, but was also escorting some British merchantmen through the channel. The merchantmen stayed between the British warships and the coast, however, and Rowan and his crew passed by unobserved. When they caught sight of the little port of Roscoff, they got the first indication of the tensions and suspicion of the French coastal forces. One of the many small batteries on the shore fired a warning shot in their direction. In times such as these, a mysterious stranger landing on a coast claiming to be a friend might not be welcomed with open arms. It was common in the run-up to a major battle for each side to send spies to observe the enemy preparations. Unfortunately for Rowan and his crew, they had appeared at just such a time. He borrowed Sheridan's red sleeping cap to serve as a bonnet of liberty. He lashed it to the helm with a boat hook and sailed unmolested under the fort of Saint Paul de Leon. They pulled alongside a fishing boat and Rowan stepped aboard, having first divided his remaining cash amongst himself and his crew. He told the Sheridans and Murrays to head for England and asked the French fishermen to bring him ashore. A crowd of curious onlookers who had watched the strange goings-on immediately took their visitor to the Hotel de la Ville and waited the arrival of someone in authority. The commandant of the fort arrived and searched and questioned Rowan. When Rowan showed him the proclamation in the Dublin Evening Post, the commandant remarked, By your own account, you've escaped from prison in your own country. I tell you, sir, you will not escape from me. The commandant convoyed Rowan to the upper room of a building with a sentry at the door. He did agree to Rowan's request that a letter be immediately sent to the Committee of Public Safety. Rowan's spirit was agitated and he was physically exhausted from his exertions since his escape, and he lay down on some straw in the room and fell into a deep sleep. It was in the year of 93, the French they planted a laurel tree, a symbol of great liberty, and the people danced around it. And wasn't I telling you, the French declared courageously that liberty, equality, and fraternity would be the cry of every nation. In 94, a new campaign the sons of darkness did maintain, but the brave sons of Gallia formed a league, and their foes they were confounded. To Flanders they brought liberty, and all her people they set free. The Dutch and the Austrians home did flee, and the Dukes they were confounded. And wasn't I telling you, the French declared courageously that liberty, equality, and fraternity would be the cry of every nation. Let every tyrant shake with dread and tremble for his guilty head. Let the fleur-de-lis in the dust be laid, and they no longer wear it. And wasn't I telling you, the French declared courageously that liberty, equality, and fraternity would be the cry of every nation. I'm going to read another little short piece, and to put this in context. The great Thomas Paine, the man who wrote The Rights of Man, The Age of Reason, and a great pamphlet called Common Sense. He was the philosopher of the American Revolution, and he was also he was actually quite lucky to escape the guillotine. He was in France during these times, and he was a dear friend of the man this book is about, Archibald Hamilton Rowan. But he had his persecutors, and there was one guy, particularly a Tory journalist. He was a sort of the Daily Mail sort of journalist of his time. He was really after Tom Paine. But strangely, as you'll see from the piece, he eventually changed his mind, and he decided that Tom Paine was who he thought was a horrible man. He suddenly discovered that he was a hero. And I'll just read a short piece in relation to that. The man's name, the scurrilous journalist, was a man called William Cobbett. So, here we go. Cobbett eventually developed a huge respect and admiration for Tom Paine, the man at whom some of his most cruel invective had been directed. Paine was once a hero of the American Revolution, but after his publication of The Age of Reason and his attack on George Washington for alleged betrayal, he could alone be an isolated figure in America, in an America which had rejected him. Cobbett, who loved to kick a man when he was down, wrote, "How Tom gets his living now, or what brothel he inhabits, I know not. Whether his carcass is at last to be suffered to rot on the earth, or to be dried in the air, is of very little consequence. Whenever and wherever he breathes his last, he will excite neither sorrow nor compassion. No friendly hand will close his eyes, not a groan will be uttered, not a tear will be shed. Like Judas, he will be remembered by posterity. Men will learn to express that all that is base, malignant, treacherous, unnatural, and blasphemous is in a single monosyllable: pain. The man responsible for this scabrous prose would one night sneak under cover of darkness into a graveyard of the Protestant refuge of New Rochelle, 22 miles north of New York City, and proceed to dig up Tom Paine's bones in order to smuggle them back to England. Cobbett intended to raise a public subscription to erect a mausoleum in central London for his newfound hero, having changed his mind about Tom Paine. The man on whom he had heaped the most scathing and cruel abuse in life, he was to honour to the point of necromancy and death. If anything could be more ironic than Cobbett's change of heart about Tom Paine, it's the fact that he lost his bones on the journey home, and instead of a hero's grave, Tom Paine has no grave at all. Cobbett's antics achieved little more than the inspiration of a Tory nursery rhyme. Poor Tom Paine, now there he lies. Nobody laughs and nobody cries. Where he's gone or how he fares, nobody knows and nobody cares. A 24th century folk singer, in an audacious distortion of sentiment worthy of Cobbett, turned this into a tribute to Tom Paine by adding, I will dance to Tom Paine's bones. I'll dance to Tom Paine's bones. I'll dance in the oldest boots I own to the rhythm of Tom Paine's bones. As I rode out one morning down a river of discontent, I bumped right into old Tom Paine as running down the road he went. He said, my friend, I can't stop now. King George is after me. He'll put a rope around my throat and he'll hang me from a liberty tree, and I will dance to Tom Paine's bones.